What's up, guys? My name's Brandon. This is Top Dog's Garage. Today we're going to be unpacking the F-150 Coyote motor and putting it on our engine stand today. So stay tuned. Alright, so for the motor, I bought a Gen 2 Coyote motor, actually from an F-150, 2016. I bought it from a company, LKQ Online. And so what you're seeing here is me just unpacking everything. So LKQ Online, they have a website as well as an eBay store. It seems like the eBay store gets inventory and moves it faster. So that's where I went. We'll talk about the total price again at the end, but I paid about $2,000 for the motor, plus $260 for shipping, which included liftgate services to a residential neighborhood. And it was a pretty fair price. I did find a small issue, and I'll show that when we get to it, and they actually credited me back $500. So it ended up coming out to be a really good price, about a little over $1,500 before shipping, plus the $260 for shipping residential. It was actually a motor I got from Canada, and it came in from Canada down to where I live in the Carolinas. So you'll see now here, I'm just kind of taking you along. So now we'll do like a little walk around of the motor, but it came shipped pretty good. It was on a pallet, and then it had these metal kind of cables holding it down. So that's why you saw me with some end snips kind of popping those cables off. But the only other thing with the LKQ motors, is it did have the wiring harness cut, so all the wiring and stuff was cut out of it from the old engine harness, so I did have to go buy new ones. This is probably for ease of getting it out. Instead of them going and unplugging everything manually, they just kind of cut it and pull it. I think that's also what led to the issue that I'll show you, is the fact that the way they pulled the motor. So next, because I'm trying to prep this and get it ready for the lift plate, I'm going to be popping off the fuel rails, and so you'll see me take that off, and then I'll take off the intake manifold. So I have to loosen up like 4 bolts for the fuel rails, and then another 6, I believe, for the intake manifold. All in all, pretty easy process. The motor is very dirty, so if you get one from a junkyard like anyone else, it'll be just as dirty. So unless you just got it and pulled it quick. So what I recommend is, as soon as you get that, like, run some air and stuff. Don't just open it up, because all that dirt, sun's gonna shake off and go down into the motor, and so I didn't want that. So I think I have some footage of it. You'll see me kind of running around with the air compressor hose, just blowing all the loose dirt off. And then I think even off camera, I went in with like a brush and just kind of brushed it all off, because I really didn't want any of that dirt getting inside of the motor. I mean, it's not brand new, but it's new enough. I believe the motor had 50,000 miles. Like I said, it came from Canada, so the odometer was in kilometers, but when I did a quick rough conversion, it was a little over 50,000. So really good for a 2016 motor. I got a really good price. And honestly, I was expecting to find something wrong. I didn't find anything. Obviously I'm filming this in the future from when this is. So since tearing it apart and everything and doing all the timing and everything, I haven't found any issues. So all in all, it's turned out to be a really good buy. Some of the ones I was looking at online, they didn't have some of the accessories, or didn't have a water pump, or didn't have a thermostat housing and stuff. So I was like, if I could find this one, it had all the accessories and everything included. Literally all I needed to do was buy an engine harness. I figured, screw it, get that one and let's rock it out. And so, now I'm cleaning it up and everything. But like I said, ton of loose dirt just from sitting in a yard for God knows how long they had it just sitting. But I would have liked to have just gotten my own, like pulled it from, so I have an LKQ local to me, but they didn't have any. They had some Gen 1s that were really high mileage, and I think they had some Gen 3s that they just wanted too much for. So I looked online, found one that was in really a better price range than what I was shooting for, and so we took it and went with that one. And right now, I'm satisfied. We'll see once it comes to startup time if anything else comes. Luckily, they do have like a 6 months warranty. So that just kind of gives me a 6-month deadline from when I purchased, just get it running and make sure everything works good. And as long as you know, if there's any issues within that time frame, I should be able to either get a new one or get my money back. And you know, and so like I mentioned, there was a small issue I found. So now I'm pulling off the intake manifold. I'll show you kind of just the ports and just show you how they look and everything like that. But all in all, nothing too crazy. They were a little dirty, so I'm gonna end up cleaning that out. But for now, I just left it the way it is. Covered it up with some tape before with the lift plate. I was gonna cover it up with some tape, but I just put the lift plate right on. And just a heads up, if you ever see me like changing clothes mid videos, that's because, like I said, I don't do this full time, so I have a job and stuff. So sometimes I'm just working this at night when the kid's asleep, and maybe the kid wakes up, maybe it gets too late and I have to get ready for work the next day. So if you ever see me like just switch clothes weirdly, that's why. I'm just picking it up from another day. Like I said, it's kind of hobby stuff, so I don't get to dedicate a full day to it or something, or else I'd finish this a lot faster. But yeah, so this is what the motor looks like with the intake on. I'm sure you've all seen something similar. A little dirty, but nothing crazy or out of the ordinary. I'm gonna clean it up and stuff, of course, before I put the intake manifold back on. Honestly, it'll probably get dirty again, but you know, I just like for it to be as clean as possible. Maybe that's just a little OCD. So for the lift plate, it's a MMR, I believe, and it comes with about 10 bolts that'll go into some holes that are right under the intake manifold. And so once you lift that off, there'll be some holes and it'll line up perfectly if you get this one. I bought this off eBay, maybe like 50 bucks or so. But basically, if you're not familiar, you could lift the motor like with some chains or something, if you just tighten some chains down on it or something like that, or some heavy duty straps, and just lift from that. This is just another way to do it. So it bolts into these holes right underneath where the intake bolts to the block. And once it's secured and tight, you can lift from this little circular opening there. And it seems pretty sturdy to me. The metal's pretty thick, so it's not gonna like warp or bend. And the pressure's pretty evenly dispersed across those bolts. So it does kind of support it pretty well. And really all for me, all I needed was just to jack it up on there for a little bit until I can get it to the engine stand that you can kind of see in the background, the red one. Got that from Harbor Freight for like 60 bucks or something like that. So really affordable for that as well. So yeah, just tightening this stuff down. Nothing really to see here, which is why I sped up. But you know, so far it's been a really good thing, a good motor. The packaging was really good. The delivery was really quick. I mean, it came from Canada to Carolina in like 3, maybe 4 days. I think it was 3. So just really fast for what it was. And so after this, what you'll see me do, I'll put it on the stand. Then obviously I pull off valve covers and stuff like that, and start doing my timing. So those will probably be separate videos, but I wanted to get it on the stand and open it up as soon as possible. Like I mentioned, for warranty, for sure, I wanted to get in there and look at it just to make sure nothing looked weird. Alright, so now I'm lifting it up. I didn't show, I actually lifted this engine up before and got it onto that smaller pallet. And you can see the carnage that is the bigger pallet in the back. So I didn't record me getting it off the big pallet, but basically just, if you can see how narrow the arms on my cherry picker are, I couldn't get it all the way around the pallet. So I did some sketchy shit to get it on there and like off of the pallet onto that smaller one. First of all, it was kind of sketchy, so I wasn't worried about filming, but also it's not really something I want to put out there as an example to do. But we did get the motor pulled off, which is the end goal. And so, you know, if you had a different lifting method, it'd probably be better. But for me, that's where I was. So now we're gonna go ahead and attach it to the stand. Before doing that, I need to actually remove the flywheel and flywheel bolts. And so you'll see that. And then actually, I'll throw in a clip here when I recognize that the transmission mounting locations, there's the lower right side of where the bell housing mount is. It's actually broken off. And so I don't even know if you'll be able to see it like from the zoomed out view, because I didn't even notice until I was kind of doing a panning view of it. And what happened was like, it was actually kind of cracked. And if I looked at it, I'm like, oh, hey, there's a crack there. I go to reach and poke it, and literally as soon as I poked it, it fell off, and I was like, oh, shit. So that's actually what I reached out to LKQ about, and just showed them some of those dowel pins that are kind of at the mid-level height of the transmission mounting location were also bent. So I'm thinking maybe the way they pulled the transmission out or pulled the engine out, it actually kind of bent and put some stress on that lower right area. And so that's what I'm thinking it was. But long story short, it was cracked there. And so I actually had to reach out to them and just told them, hey, like, I noticed a crack here and I was fidgeting with it and it broke off. Can you guys compensate, or was this known? Because it was a little lower price. So I was like, I don't know. Was it something that you guys knew of? And were just like, hey, this is why it's so low. But like I said, they basically asked me, name a fair price. What do you think it costs to repair? And I was like, you know, 500 bucks. And they said, okay. Funny thing is enough, being that it's just that one spot and the other ones are solid, because you'll see I'm actually mounting the engine into those other points. I don't know if I got that on camera, but it's there. But since those points are solid, I really just put some JB weld on it, and you know, it should hold. It has 6 other bolts where it's gonna be in there. And it's not like there are any fluids or anything running through there to where I should have any leaks. So it should hold with those 6 bolts, but that's the issue I had. But I feel like, you know, they handled it in a fair amount. So like I said, we'll talk prices again later, but I spent, you know, roughly 2,000, I think it was 2,060 plus shipping, which is 260, minus the 500. So that brought me down to like 1,760 for the motor shipped to my house with liftgate. So all in all, I think that's a hell of a deal. And, you know, minus $4 for a couple tubes of JB weld, and, you know, it's a brand new motor. So on the next few videos, you'll see we do have, I plan to get some better angles on some of the working stuff. So I was kind of just fidgeting around trying to get something going and get active on the channel. So I was just filming that way. But so what you'll see coming up, maybe if you like this style of like me having to work in the background and me doing a voiceover, I can continue with that. Just comment down below, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, of course, do all of that. But my plan is to have our next couple videos will be, I have to do some textured paint for my battery relocation kit. I don't like the stainless steel look, so I'm gonna get that like a black textured look. Installing the cams and timing kit, removing the old stuff, of course, new timing cover. Had to get a Mustang timing cover for this build because I am gonna use the power by the hour swap bracket. So that's also something that you'll see coming up. And those will be a few different videos. So over those videos, you'll see me tinkering with different camera angles and stuff. Feel free to give feedback. Hey, I like this. Hey, that's shit, I don't like that. Whatever, all feedback will help, especially in this early stage. And, you know, stick with me and just, you know, let me learn with you, and, you know, you talk to me, tell me what you like, what you don't like, and we'll get something out there. But I look forward to the build. I look forward to having you guys join me on the build, and I appreciate all the support that I've been receiving. Thanks a lot, and check me out next time.